Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Jenny from the Chopping Block. And tonight we have a very special guest, Victoria Dioh. And I want to welcome you, Victoria. I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for your time. And I know that our time difference is very different and it's very late there.
It is.
I really appreciate you.
No, thank you. I appreciate you as well. Thanks for inviting me on.
And I'm grateful to have gotten to know you last week and hear your story. And it was funny because a couple of people had reached out to both of us stating you guys have to meet.
Right.
And once we met, it was like we already knew each other. So
yeah, that was an amazing day. That was crazy and stuff.
Yeah.
It was a day of synchronicities, right?
Absolutely.
Still having them, so which is beautiful.
And I guess I just want to start by, I want to share with the audience also is that, I'm very interested in healing, and I know that you heal through food, and and that's something that I want to step into and learn more about. So I really want to know more about that. Can you share that with us, please?
Oh, wow. So, yeah, healing with food, that just touches my heart when you talk about that. So food, for me, is very simple. And we choose how we connect with it and how we want to use it. So one of the things, especially like with my mom, I tell my mom that food is so simple and that it can actually connect you more to your health than just being a satisfier, and food, if you think of things like blackberries, for example, blackberries are so nutritious that they're so full of antioxidants and stuff, and they're really sort of like vibrational, and they heal a number of diseases, right? And people don't think about that. It's like you go to the supermarket, you get your blackberries, and you just eat them. And it's about having a look at food and being intentional around your food. Even things like plantains. I'm an African girl, so I love plantains, right? Where I'm an African girl, and the food from our village, my dad's village in Cameroon, is plantains. And people forget that, they eat plantains, they enjoy it, but plantains are full of iron. And you can make gluten-free powder from plantains. Exactly. And these are things that people don't think about, It's like you go out looking for gluten-free powder and flour and stuff, and it's like, there you go. You've got beautiful plantain flour that you can actually use. So it's about just connecting to food and understanding. You can go on the internet and just stream through what, the amazing things that food does. So for example, corn is so good for your eyes.
Oh, wow.
Right. So, when I was in Africa in October, I went to visit an oracle, and she, she has very bad eyesight, and she knows that I'm a healer as well. And she came to me and asked me to do some healing for her, and I prescribed her food. And some of the food was around corn and carrots and stuff, putting those into her food rather than just not. And also water. We forget how important water is. Water is so important. Tony Robbins talked about a book once called Many Cries. I think it's called Many Cries of Water. And it's about this guy he's a doctor, but he got imprisoned. And then the inmates became ill, and he got told he had to heal every single person in that prison. But he didn't have anything else apart from water.
Wow. What was the book called?
I think it's called Man's Many Cries for Water. I'll find it and let you know. It is an amazing book, but it's just about let me see. Cries for water. Maybe I got it wrong, but Man's Many Cries for Water.
Wow.
So Yeah, and there's another one called, I think it might be that, or Your Body's Many Cries for Water. But my point is the fact that water is so important, and it's amazing how much you can heal. And there's times when you have a headache and you lean out and get the tablets, and actually I just say, you're possibly just dehydrated. Mm-hmm. Or you've eaten foods that may not agree with you at that moment in time. So for example, migraines, do you know that apples and avocados can actually instigate migraines and stuff? And yeah.
Wait, so they bring on migraines?
Yeah, they can do. There is, actually, yeah, and I'm not a scientist, but there are actually there are actually sort of like elements of certain foods that can trigger migraines. Chocolate, coffee, yeah. So you've got to be really careful, but then water will cure it. But then apples are great for other things. And avocados are very nutritious, and they really help you with sort of like, getting really good oils into your skin, getting really good fatty oils into your body, making your skin glow. So there's so much around food that you can just explore. And one of the things that I got taught is just connecting to food and setting the intention is enough to allow food to become healing. So food doesn't need to be overcooked, overprocessed, and just see how you feel with food, which is why when you're eating healthily, or you're eating foods that connect with you, your skin glows. It's just that simple. And then if you go on a binge, which a lot of us during lockdown haven't been doing so well with, and stuff, it's like, you find that you're eating because your normal routine of going out and doing things has sort of like disappeared. Then you probably find that you're coming out with spots, and you find that you're not sleeping well, or you find that you find feeling a bit irritable. All those are down to food. So food is very, very powerful, very powerful. And it's not that you shouldn't treat yourself and eat food that, I suppose, eat food that you think would had more taste in them, even though I believe that fresh food tastes better. That you can go and have your bar of chocolate, but just remember that there are other foods that are just as sweet. So, for example, I struggle to find them at the moment, but they are around. Sweet potatoes. I crave sugar quite a lot, so I have sweet potatoes, and they not only are they grounding, but they also stop me from craving sugar. And I have them with all sorts. So I'll boil eggs with a bit of sweet potato, and I'll have that for breakfast with some cucumbers. And, I'll have butternut squash soup. Food that's from the ground is very grounding. It helps you connect. So if you feel like you're a bit flighty, or you're all over the place, or you're really stressed, these are foods that you need to just be able to connect you to the ground and just give you a bit more perspective. Because sometimes when you're stressed or when you're worried, your headspace doesn't tell you how to get out of it. You're just in this downward spiral. So food can help you just readjust and what have you. And that's things that I do with my clients as well, is, I create the menus based on their emotions or based on what they're going through. And it's wonderful. It's really nice. It's really nice.
That's remarkable. Just hearing you talk about it is like making me feel so calm and like happy.
Yeah. No, I've even been known to go to people's homes and spend time with them in their homes. And I mean, I don't know what that would look like now in that offering. But before I came back from America, I actually spent 8 days with the author Allison Armstrong, and I lived with her and fed her and healed her. And even things like she'd be upstairs having client meetings, and I would be making my turmeric drink, my special turmeric drink. And I'd make a turmeric drink.
Try that.
Yeah. It's so simple. It's literally a jug of water, a teaspoon of turmeric. And because we're in Hawaii, we were getting like really fresh food. Oh my God. And ground turmeric and ground ginger. And I would just put it in the water and just leave it. And the longer it stayed, the tastier it got. And she would just come down and drink and drink. And
so interesting. I just got a juicer yesterday, and somebody messaged me like, try sweet potato, I think it was, turmeric and ginger.
Beautiful.
And I was like, wow, it's so interesting. Now I'm hearing it again.
It's all ground in food. And that's the other thing as well. Listen out for what you're being told. You know, I keep saying to people, right now, the universe is so quiet. It's getting busy again, but it's been so quiet, right? And we need to be listening to what's being told to us, because we are connected probably higher than we ever have been in this space, because the universe got cleaned for us, right? I mean, about 7 weeks ago, we were hearing about, in China, like animals coming out of the water and the water's been clear. And even in London, where you can never see stars, we've had stars in London. It's been wonderful. The universe has cleared and we're listening. And if you're hearing messages about certain foods that would really help you, connect to it and enjoy it. There are no coincidences. That's one thing I've learned in life.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, I've been hearing and just connecting with people that I feel like we're speaking a new language, and it feels good. Yeah.
I think it's I'm excited because already for me, especially and stuff, so much has happened in this period. But I'm watching everybody else and the connections that we're making, and also the things that we're learning. Some of us have just literally just decided to just surrender to this art of just learning whatever we can, because and it's beautiful. I am loving it. I can't. Oh my God! I'm grateful for this time, because I know this time won't come back again. Even if we end up having another lockdown, heaven forbid, but if we're never gonna get this time of, oh my God, what is this? How can the world stop? And how can we be stuck indoors for like 7 weeks, 8 weeks? We're never going to get that again.
Mm-hmm.
And that level of awareness and awakening, because that's what we're going through. And a lot of my clients have been very surprised that they had intuition. And it's like, everybody's got intuition. It's just whether or not you surrender to it, right? Whether or not you actually surrender to it, open to it, or if you meet someone who can guide you into it.
That's huge. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So I love that part of you, and I love that we could talk about that together. But I also want to talk about, so you incorporate your food then with your physical healing, and can we talk about that first?
Sure. What do you want to talk about? The physical healing?
Yeah. So how has that experience been for you?
Oh my God. My physical healing or healing other people?
Both.
Oh goodness. How's that been for me? So personally, I've been on a major journey. My journey's been 4 years, well, about 10 years in the running. And in the last 4 years, especially, I've really noticed the difference. I don't know if it's a healing or an awareness, an awakening, where, I used to be in the corporate world, earning 6 figures and nothing else mattered. Everything mattered around money, sort of like what car I was driving, what home I was living in. And that awakening of actually realizing that you have another purpose. There are people out there that need you. And it's not the corporate world in the way that you think. That was a huge awakening, because it's scary. And I know that there's a lot of people right now listening to this, going on in their life and just thinking, I don't know what that means. And this is scary stuff. I want to stick to what I'm used to. So for me, it has been enlightening. I have been scared at times, if I'm really honest, and very unsure and very confused. But I've had the faith, and that's my major value, actually, having faith, believing that everything's going to be okay, everything's going to work itself out. And having that faith to believe that has really helped me to not only learn, but surrender to new possibilities. And I wouldn't have my life any other way. You know, I've gone from the curb of homelessness because of this gift. I've gone from the place where I thought I was going to lose my mind because of this gift. You know, I would cry, and I'm not a crier, but I would literally cry because of the frustration, because I was so tired trying to navigate exactly what this is. But one thing I'll say is, when you surrender to a particular purpose, God, the universe, whatever you believe in, will bring people to you. He will open the doors that allows you to be able to have a companion as you're navigating through this. The number of mentors I had as soon as I said yes is unbelievable. And they all happened very similar to like how you and I met, right? You know, I would be walking down the street and I'd meet someone and they go, oh, I know who you need to meet. How did you know that this is what I needed right now? Yeah, and it's just beautiful. But also connecting to that purpose. So when I talk about the purpose, I have a purpose, and I believe I have a genius. So my genius is cooking. So I don't need to learn how to cook. I just cook. and you know, I own a sort of like a small food company, and I make sauces. And when I started to make those sauces, I didn't know about my intuition, but I would dream up the recipes and then get up in the morning and cook them. I didn't know anything about intuition. Now everything makes sense, right? But with the healing side, the more I cooked, the more that healing side just opened. And I didn't know what it meant until I would walk up to people and I would touch them. And I mean, you can't do that now, right? But there used to be a time when I'd go to someone, or someone would say, oh my God, you know, I don't feel great. And I would touch them and they'd go, how did you know it was there? How did you know it was that part of my body that needed healing? And you know what? Giving people that freedom, especially business owners, because you're in the business and you're working with your left brain, and you're such in a logical world. You don't realize that there is an intuitive side, your right brain, and your creative side that you can connect to. And being able to do that has given people that freedom, you know, that exponential freedom to be able to enjoy connecting to their higher selves and actually using their super consciousness, their genius in the workplace, and also allowing them to have a wider perspective of their lives. You know, so it's so I've told you about my what was it? I told you about my genius, and then my gift is the healing. And that is something that I believe I was born with that I just didn't acknowledge. And it was so interesting meeting my oracle for the first time in Africa, because when she saw me, she knew straight away. And it was just such a beautiful moment of, wow, this is who I am. And I stopped being shy and embarrassed about being a healer. And I, you know, because I used to think I'm the only one who thought that people would think I was woo-woo. Everybody who knew
that you were what? Woo-woo? I kind of love the word woo-woo.
It's like British accent. Yeah. I'm like cuckoo, you know, sort of like, oh, you know, you're one of those. But yeah, I was the only person who thought that people would think that I was weird. But everybody who knows me, and especially everybody who loves me, when I told them and I said, I heal people, and I can see beyond what's physically there. Everybody I know pretty much said, of course you do. And it was so funny because I was like, oh, So it's not weird then. And I'm like, oh no. And and there's other people that I've met in the last 4 years who were like, well, we always knew that about you. So interesting things, right?
Beautiful things, yeah.
Your gift is so important. And one of the things I say to my clients, I run a free manifestation challenge daily. And I say to
amazing.
Yeah, I say to you, you attended that, right?
I have to catch up. I want to hear everything about it.
So in that particular course that I run, I say to people, imagine waking up every day and having a gift box left outside your front door. And the look on your face when you see that box with a ribbon on and you want to open it up. Well, we have those gifts already there. We just don't acknowledge them. Right? So whether it's somebody calling you to check on you to see if you're okay, or it's somebody who brings you food, or somebody says good morning to you on the street, or manifesting something bigger and wilder, right? I mean, I'm the queen of manifestations and stuff. It's like, you've heard some of my stories. But my point is, we are gifted. We have gifts already, and we just need to acknowledge those. And this gift of mine, I ignored for years, to the point where it must have, I honestly believe that it needed to be out to be able to do some good, or I wouldn't have had certain things removed from my life that were going to prove to be a distraction. So the job, the money, the car, the home, everything got removed. So that I was focused. And in the end, I went, all right, fine, let's do it. And now I completely embed it, and it's part of my essence, and I love it.
So gorgeous.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
I am blessed. Yes.
Can I ask you, so if you could just can you explain more about how, if you could describe manifestation, or how you came to realize that you had control of it?
Ooh.
Key points.
You know what? Manifestation is so interesting because for me, I have always just asked for stuff. And it doesn't mean that I don't get into my head and go around in a bit of a tease sometimes. But in general, if I ask for stuff, it comes. And I'll give you an example of what I manifested, and then I'll explain to you how I work around manifestation and how I teach people around manifestation. So, so the other day, for example, so I'm between homes. I'm moving into somewhere else, and I manifested that as well. And I wanted somewhere quiet, and I wanted somewhere that I could actually be creative. And I started getting visions about somebody offering me a home. And I was getting really excited. And I don't know about other people, but I have conversations with God, and I'm like, oh, so I just had a dream that somebody gifted me something. What's all that about? And I didn't get any answer, but I was getting really excited because I really wanted this home. Now, to be fair, the home that I felt I was being gifted and stuff had a garden and everything else, but I was just excited that I was getting a home and that I had a key to my front door. And one night at midnight, I received a text message from someone saying, there is a place that I know, and I've got the keys for it. Do you want it? And I remember looking at the message, and I was half asleep, and I went, wow. And the next day I rang and I said, yes, I would love it. And I got driven here about a week ago, and I am in a multi-million-pound complex. I know. And, and I'm so grateful because I've got the place to myself. And this is where I created the manifestation challenge, because I had been trying to think of a way to contribute, and and I do different bits and bobs to contribute, but I was trying to find a way to contribute, and I I was still struggling to understand what that looks like. And I knew it didn't have anything to do with healing, as in directly healing online. And I knew it didn't have anything to do with cooking directly online, even though I'm creating my cooking show.
Yes.
It wasn't that. And then one day as I sat here, again, the universe is quiet, so I was listening. And this voice said, the one thing that happens almost every day is somebody calls you and said, Vic, how the hell did you manifest that? How did you manifest a trip? Yeah, how did you manifest a trip to the US with $200 in your pocket for 3 months? How did you manifest, going to Africa and being gifted a ticket to fly there? How did you manifest?
That's a beautiful story.
There's all these stories, right? And one of the things that I tell people is, rather than having a manifestation challenge that tells you to write stuff down and think about things, I get people to use their bodies and their hearts and their souls to connect so that they can manifest. And I don't know what day you came in to sessions, but I can guarantee you that after 24 hours of doing the first challenge I had ever done, people had manifested 3 coaching sessions. One girl manifested, I think it was 8 lots of coaching sessions. Somebody manifested a job in Malawi. Somebody else had a breakthrough that had been blocking her pretty much every time she tried to manifest something. She actually thought it was the way, no, she thought that she just wasn't entitled to manifest anything at all. And the other person had a breakthrough that what she was actually manifesting wasn't actually what she wanted. It was something else. That was day 1. I have just finished. I wrapped up a few hours ago. I wrapped up the final session for that round, and I already have people banging on the door, knocking for round 2. Round 2 starts on Sunday.
Amazing.
Yeah. So it's all about, so manifestation is all about your body. So when I manifest, I completely surrender. I don't need to know how it's going to happen. That's the first thing. How it's going to happen is none of my business. I also feel into what I want. So I actually believe I've already got it. It's not about, oh, when it happens, oh, I'm gonna. It's literally, it's here. And that's my vibration when I think of it. When I close my eyes, I see it, and that's what it's like. It's so funny because one of my visions around my clients is having clients round the door, like literally just like right? And it was funny because I was sharing with my group today that today especially have been so busy because my phone has not stopped beeping with people wanting to join the challenge. Like literally it's gone crazy. And I was like, what's going on? And then I realized that every morning I ask for the same thing. And I was like, there you go. You've manifested it. And you didn't even realize, again, the gifts that
That's remarkable. I love that so much.
It's not just about saying a few words and bringing in the manifestation. It's about you realizing how powerful you are to magnify what you want. So Abraham Hicks says, I keep quoting this, or quoting her, keep quoting her, and I'm sure she did say it, but she says, when you ask for something, it's already yours. When you ask for something, it's already yours. Now, I don't know if this is her saying this or it's me saying this, but I see it like when you ask for something, whatever you want gets put into a warehouse. And this is your warehouse, right? and you say, I want, I don't know, a car. I want this bright, shiny car. and this car comes to you and stuff. Now remember that you need to be more specific about what you want, right? And they bring it in, and then they place it in the car. The secret is for you to be able to magnify that car to you. So you need to increase your vibration so that the magnets on the car and you collide. That's the secret. So when you say, oh, I don't have it, or when it comes, it's like, well, that's already coming from a place of lack because it's already here. And when your body connects to you, and I work with clients to actually get them to connect so they feel they've got it. That vibration is unbelievable. And I can tell you what has been manifested in the 5 days with the women that were there. It was only women in this one. We've got a male joining the next one. Wonderful, unbelievable. And I wasn't even doing the exercises, and I was manifesting stuff. So they would share, and I'd go, I want to share too, because I've been manifesting. I'm teaching you, but guess what? I'm manifesting as well. It's beautiful. And also, it came to me that I only needed 5 days to teach this. I didn't need 21 days. 5 days was enough to get people in to actually teach them this. And they were manifesting some amazing stuff.
I love that. And I love your group. It's amazing. I can't wait to be consistent the whole time.
Well, we're running it every week, and in there as well, people go through healing, so you almost get a taste of my healing through that as well, because it's all part of it, right? It's all part of a belief system. What we learn between the age of 0 and 4, it hinders us. It allows us to think we don't deserve it. I mean, I had somebody today say one of the things that she realized she needed to let go of was the fact that she didn't deserve it. She'd never actually asked for anything. She didn't believe she could have anything. So even though she'd say, oh, I want to manifest, it wasn't coming from a place of certainty because she actually didn't believe she deserved anything. So guess what? She didn't manifest. And then all of a sudden she's getting trips to Africa and she's asking, she goes, this is what I want to go do in Africa. And all of a sudden she looks at a newspaper and it's at the bottom of the newspaper, boom, and she's gone. So very powerful. And, and this work for me is my contribution to the world to make sure that everybody not only can connect to their higher self, their higher consciousness, their super consciousness, connect to their genius, but most importantly as well, have everything that they would love in their lives.
Amazing. You are amazing. I feel so calm talking to you. I love you.
It's wonderful talking about it. I love it. This is why I was put on this earth, to have conversations like this.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I wanted to talk about, so you have another group that's a little deeper dive into your work, and that's your masterminds. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's funny because when I created the challenge, I had no intention I was going to do a mastermind. And the more, again, I listen a lot. I listen and everything's channeled. So when I think by day 3, day 4, I was like, okay, I want to take these people to a deeper level where they use this as a habit. So it's not just about, oh, I've done a 5-day challenge and I'm going to go away and maybe I'm going to follow this or maybe I'm not. So it was almost like giving them the tools, extra tools to be able to get into this. So there they experience in-depth healing. They also experience sort of like toolkits to work with the manifestation, but again, allowing them to use their bodies more, because 5 days shows you that it's possible. Mm-hmm. 5 days shows you that it's possible. 5 days shows you some of the things that you can manifest, right? But how about manifesting the bigger things in life? And it's not about the material things. It's about manifesting that feeling that you want, right? So one of the funny things that I hear when they say, well, what would you love? And people go, well, I just want to be happy. And, and they believe that something or someone is going to get them happy. But then you've got the other elements of life as well, where it's like you can manifest that happiness, but that happiness can come in different forms, right? And also making sure that you're not coming from a place of lack. And make sure that you're not coming from a place of lack when you're asking for stuff. So, for example, I actually had two clients who were certain they wanted money. That's what they were manifesting. And the certainty that came from them when they said they wanted money came from more of a place of lack. And all you could hear was, I don't have money.
It's so interesting. Yeah.
That makes sense?
Absolutely.
And, yeah, and like, I need money. I have to, this is it. I need money. I want money. So I turned it around and I said, but what does the money give you? And I did a demonstration with somebody online. So all this has been done online, of course, people can't see each other. But I did an exercise with one of them online. I think it was on Wednesday. And I guarantee you, everybody who was watching literally could see the change in her face, her physiology, when she connected to what she really wanted. And all of a sudden, it wasn't about the money. It was about this other stuff. It was about the possibilities that the money could give her. So we took the money out because the money was coming from a low vibration. And connected her to that. Oh my Lord.
And I was having a conversation with my brother this morning about how, do you believe that the universe, or what, the law of attraction, do you feel that it doesn't understand the language of, say, like, I want money, like, but it does understand the language of your higher self saying, I want to do this, or I want this freedom, or a pure state of like why you want it.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I think what's the name? The Secret is an amazing book. There's just a lot more that it doesn't tell you. And that's why you get
everyone says that I talk to. It's so good.
Yeah. But I remember telling somebody once, oh my God, you need to read The Secret. And they read it and came back to me and went, I've been reading and it's not told me anything. And at the time, I just thought they were being difficult because I sort of got it, right? But the more I've read it, I've listened to it, I've watched it. And the more I watch it, I still like it because it does give you the basic principles. But I've studied alchemy and I know what it's like to connect to your higher self. I know what it's like to find your genius, and I know what it's like to help people find their genius. Everybody on this earth was put on here for a reason. Everybody has a genius. But a lot of us will die never, ever discovering it. Because one, I could be talking and somebody goes, what the hell does that mean? Two, some people don't believe that they can have a genius. Some people don't believe they're good enough to have a genius. So, for example, if you have, oh great, so you've got social media right now, right? And we get to see so many videos. What does it say that a 2-3-year-old can carve the most amazing statue? And we go, wow. This child can barely read, but this child knows how to build a statue. Or the other day, I think there was a girl who was about 4 or 5 and she was sewing dresses. She's like the village seamstress. Or a 3-year-old who can come and play piano and be as good as any classical composer that you've ever heard of. That's not a mistake. That's genius. Genius is where it comes to you. You don't even need training for it. It's there. You may polish it up, but it's there. And everybody has that genius. And that's what I help people connect with, because I connect people to their higher selves and then allow them to have their genius. So law of attraction, talking about that, is allowing you to actually believe that you can have that for it to actually come into your life. And there are languages. So somebody said to me today, oh, I'm struggling. The universe listens to words that are emotive. So if you say, I can't, I'm struggling, struggling has a huge, emotion attached to it. So then you start struggling, right? Because that's what it hears. If you say, I want, that comes from a place of lack. It doesn't hear the money. But if you say, so I was talking about a project of mine that I've kept so secret for such a long time.
Oh, I love secrets.
Yeah. And I hadn't mentioned it, but I have some land in Africa, and I hadn't spoken about it before, and I always knew that I was going to get somebody else who studied alchemy to actually be the architect on this land, and it just so happened that in my manifestation class, there's somebody who I've known for years, never knew they were an architect. And she talks about it, and she also is an architect, and she goes to Africa and does work there. And I could feel myself literally freezing as she was talking. And I'm looking at the screen, and she goes, are you all right? I went, I've got this land, and I know what I want to do on it. And I was telling her, and her and I had a meeting 2 days later, and I started talking to her about it. And my face was just pure joy. That is what the
moments.
Yeah, those are the moments. And that's what the universe hears. It hears exactly how you feel. It hears your energy. It hears your vibration. And that's what then intensifies the magnetism and draws it to you. Because there's nothing about me wanting to build a home for dementia patients in Africa that comes from a low vibration. Nothing. It's just pure and simple. And, my dad had dementia before he died. And, I bought the land before I think he even had dementia. But I always knew that there were a couple of projects on the land. And one of them definitely was about bringing somebody in to actually create this space where families could leave their parents or family members for the day and just be able to get a bit of freedom and go out and enjoy themselves, and then come back and collect, and also create a space where dementia patients would have a space where they could listen to music, and also people look after them and take care of them and connect to them on that level. And rather than trying to bring them into today's world, but also allow them to reminisce in the world where they feel more safe.
What was your father's name?
Mukete.
Mukete.
Yeah.
I would like to ask because I always want to know.
Yeah, he's called Mukete. And amazing guy, very intelligent. And, and it will be named after him. And I've had that land for ages, but I didn't know that I would meet the architect for it, or at least consultant for it, on my manifestation challenge. And guess what? When I mentioned the dementia project to her, she said to me, oh, my friend actually did a thesis on architecture on dementia homes. Yeah, I know. Everything just tied together. And that is how the vibration works.
It's beautiful.
So it's not about how, in the universe, I think we believe that if somebody is good, then they'll get good things happen to them. And that if you're bad, then you shouldn't. That's not about. Because the whole bad and good is all relative to what your beliefs are. But if you have that belief and that connection, don't get me wrong, I believe that karma is, karma will come and get you. But the truth of the matter is, if you believe, you've got some people who are so arrogant that they actually believe that they deserve stuff. That vibration, when they get to a certain vibration, they just attract it. And it pisses a lot of people off because you're like, oh, you don't deserve that. that they may have not used the purest way to get it, but they've used a way where they believe they can have it.
Wow.
That's why when you've got somebody who's been rich before, they've been used to being rich, they can lose everything and be rich again because they don't know any other way. They believe that they need to be rich. They should be rich. And it doesn't come from a place of lack. It's like that's their right. That's all they've known. And some people go, well, that's arrogant. No, it's just what it's what they believe. It's their belief. I know kids whose parents are rich, and the kids are used to having expensive stuff. And they have a standard, and they won't. Now you may say, oh, they're spoiled, but they're just like, this is what I'm used to. Mm-hmm. And so that's what they attract. But what I teach is not coming from that place where eventually you will experience some lack. It's about using your body, your mind, and your soul to connect so that you magnify everything you want and bring it into your life.
So fun. I love all of this.
I think it's beautiful. I think
it is.
I love sharing, and thanks for allowing me to do that and talk about it. It's wonderful.
Thank you so much. So I want to ask you, I always like to ask my guests, because I do love the whole food part of everything. What is your favorite food?
Ooh. So whenever I go to Cameroon, I normally ask for, it's called ndole.
Ooh. Wait, how do I know mandole? What is that?
Ndole, oh my God. Ndole it's bitter leaf, which is very medicinal. So it's very alkaline, it's bitter leaf. And obviously when you taste it, it's bitter, but it gets washed in salt. And then all the bitterness comes out, and then it gets washed in water and then drained. It's amazing. And it gets cooked with peanuts. So you have a peanut allergy, don't even bother. But you can actually make it in pumpkin seeds as well, with pumpkin seeds. So I'm going to be doing this at one of the shows when I move to my new place. And they do it with peanuts, and they put in all sorts of like dried fish and meats and everything else and stuff. And I have boiled plantains, and I like plantains that are just about right, not too ripe, so they're not too sweet. And it's my favorite. Like literally, if I'm going to Cameroon, I ring my darling sister-in-law, and she literally gets it down for me.
How can I eat that?
You have to come and visit me. So that's one of my favorite ones. The second favorite one that I like is I love grilled fish. It's grilled fish African style, right? Where it gets clean, but it gets grilled with the head, because what people forget to understand, and they don't even realize, is the head adds a lot of flavor to the food. So if you grill the fish with the head, you can cut it off afterwards. But I always, so I don't take it off before. I leave it all on and I grill it. And I marinate it beforehand, and it's beautiful. And
what's your favorite marinade for fish?
Ooh, so I have my own sauces. So I am.
Oh, true. Yeah, got it.
But I tell you a secret. I believe that if you have ginger and garlic, and you mix those two together, put a little bit of oil and put a little bit of salt, just those two things would go amazing. Now, another secret that I use, so I cook for a lot of retreats. And in retreats, I don't, even though I'm not vegetarian, at retreats, I cook complete vegan.
Wow.
Vegan or vegetarian. So I'm really strict when I do, because in retreats, we're going there to heal. So we don't want the energy of an animal coming in. And even though I'm really careful where I buy my meat from, You know, my butchers here in the UK, they've been doing for like 200 years. So, you know, they'll tell you exactly where they get their food from and everything else. I don't buy from supermarkets either. So when I cook for retreats, it's pure. So a lot of people that people want flavor. People want interesting and flavorsome food. So I create like a stock. And you can do this stock either from vegetables, or you can do the stock from meats if you're not, you know, if you're cooking at home. And I take that stock and I mix it up with the ginger and garlic, and it's just wonderful. And you can season as much as you want. And you know, also be really, really what's the word? Adventurous in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. There's no limits. I actually thought of a recipe today, and I forgot it, and I didn't write it down. And I was like, that's a really weird combination, but it made sense to me. I was like, but it makes sense to me, and I'm gonna do it when I move in. And I forgot about it. And now that I'm saying that, I'm looking around, going, what was it? But, I actually had this idea, and I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make this when I move into my place and stuff, and put it on the show.
I love that.
Yeah. So ndole and fish, love it.
How do you spell that?
Ndole is ND for Delta OLE. It's beautiful.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's just the best. It's the best food.
I want it.
Yeah. And it's really funny how you go for what you want, because my dad's mom is from the town where we live in Cameroon, but she's from the town where this is the traditional food. And plantain is from my dad's side. And it's really funny that I always ask the two, because now that I'm talking to you and I think about it, one is from my dad's village, from my dad's paternal village, and one part of the meal is from my dad's maternal village. Isn't that interesting? It's just
really amazing.
Yeah, that's just dawned on me.
I've been making stuff for the brothers, and like one of the guys, he always talks, they love my beet salad, and I'm like, and it reminds them of what their mom used to make them, and it's just like that. It's just those roots, you know, of those recipes. And
completely.
So
yeah, I have a friend who, she tasted one of my sauces. So I do this honey hot sauce, and it's honey.
I know you don't like people in the kitchen with you, but I just have a feeling we might wind up there together. Hopefully.
You remember me telling you that, right? I was like, I don't like people in the kitchen.
Like, listen, Linda, I want to go in the kitchen with you, please. I'm really good in the kitchen. Trust me. I'm very good. I don't talk. I already know what you're going to think and say. I know the code. I know it.
I'll trust you. You can come in and for a trial period, so we'll see what that's like. But yeah, but I do this honey hot sauce, and it's literally honey and Scotch bonnets. And the way I fuse it, oh my God. And the first time she tasted it, at first she wanted just to support me. And then she called me and she was in tears. And she said, this reminds me of home. This reminds me of home. And she was so appreciative. And that's another part of healing as well. You know, when I say I heal with food, it's not just about curing a physical, you know, ailment or something, but just making someone feel like, remind them of home, and to feel. She's actually got about 5 jars of mine, like the big ones as well and stuff. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take her to eat all of this, right? Because this stuff is, but she's ordered it. And I'm like, okay, but it makes her feel safe and makes her feel at home. And that is, I believe, the reason why I got put on this earth. So yeah, it's beautiful.
Well, that leads into my next question. I want to ask you, if you had a superpower, which it's very obvious that you have a few, but if you got to choose a new one, what would that be?
Oh my God. Do you know what? I wouldn't choose another one.
Wow.
I'm so in my essence, and I can't express, I mean, we haven't even touched on gratitude in this conversation, but I can't express how grateful I am to be who I am. And I wouldn't want anybody's life but mine. And that's from the bottom of my heart. And I wouldn't want any more other skills than mine, because God, I do some amazing stuff. And I do, and I'm so blessed, and I'm so grateful.
But wouldn't it be cool to like fly around or something?
No, I just, nah, because do you know what? Because I actually float. I already float, so I don't need to fly because I already float, and I'm a seer, so I already see, and I see. I can see far away. By the time somebody comes to me, I already know it's happened. So, God, what do I need? I deserve the best, and I do have the best, and I'm loving it.
It's my favorite.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering that way, because that makes a lot of sense knowing you better now.
Yeah. I didn't, even when I'm feeling it, I didn't realize I could feel any more grateful. Every time I feel grateful, I'm like, okay, could you feel any more grateful and stuff? And this has just taken me to a different level, because I didn't know how I was going to answer. And yeah, I'm just, I'm blessed. I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed. Yeah.
And then I just wanted to ask you if you have anything that's helped you during this time, or anything you want to share with the audience.
Knowing that everything's going to be okay, no matter what, has really helped. Having that faith that, listen, people say to me, do you have days when you get upset or you're feeling down? I don't have huge down days, but I do have days when I think, things could be more. My ego wants things to be a lot more simpler, and we just want to be able to just get the answers straight away. What I do know in those times, though, is I know that whatever I'm experiencing is for a greater purpose. And I also know that I'll be okay. I have known that for a very long time. And trust me, I've been through some challenging moments. I've had days when I've been driving towards my car, I've been in a taxi driving towards my car, knowing that the car is the place I'm going to spend the night. But I've had the faith, and because I've had that faith, I've also had a phone call in that car as I'm driving to my car saying, "Hey, there's a flat here that's available. Do you want it?" So I always believe that everything will be okay, and I think it's important to remember that even if you don't believe it, think it, because the more you think it, the more you will embody it, and the more that you'll believe it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, Victoria, I just want to thank you again for coming on the show, and I can't wait to grow more in our friendship. And yeah, if there's anything I could do for you further, let me know.
Oh, thank you. No, this has been wonderful. Thanks for this space. We could talk about this all day. The one thing I'll say to everyone is that if you have a gift, explore it, because it's not about you. It's about others. It's about what that gift will help with others. So if you're thinking to yourself, "Oh my God, I'm not sure that I have this gift," go for it. Go for it. Serve the world.
You calm me. Not many people calm me. I feel like I'm like so good. I just want to thank everybody for watching. Judy, Danielle, love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching and interacting with us. And I will see you guys tomorrow. I hope you have a good weekend. And yeah, that's all we got tonight, folks.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Bye.